Sutra 30, Book 1, Sri Patanjali, being the greatest scientist of the mind, in my books, he's the greatest, he lists out the obstacles for us very, very clearly. And he lists 9 obstacles that we need to watch out for. And he makes it so easy for us, because once you know what the obstacles are, when you get them, you don't fret and you don't say, oh, what's happening to me? I've lost my practice and all this guilt stuff. You don't go through that. You say, okay, I'm going through this obstacle. Now, how can I help myself to get better? Or how do I find a solution to get out of the obstacle? You see, most I have seen in the years gone by, when people have an obstacle to their meditation, rather than just watch it and let it go, and it goes quickly, they grasp. They think about that obstacle too much. For example, the first obstacle that he lists is disease, disease, disease. Okay, you all know that when you're not feeling well, what happens to your practice? You may be sitting down, and what are you feeling? My back is hurting, my throat is hurting, oh, I've got an injury here. And so it's very difficult to meditate. Yes, it is the same thing. Meditation is the best medication. Honestly, it is. It is. It is the best medication in the world. And I'm proof of that. And I'll tell you that story about that too. So disease will stop us. And this is where in yoga we have the wonderful practice of hatha yoga. That's what asana is all about. Asana is to remove all the toxins in your body. Why? For the one purpose, so that you can sit still. Unless you're one of these really lucky human beings, and there are not that many, that even when the body is diseased, they can meditate. They're few and far between. But most of us, and I have noticed this in the years of teaching, most people, when they have a problem with their health, they really get into mind stuff. They think too much about it. Way too much. I'm not well, I'm this, I'm that. The thing is, and Sri Patanjali gives a solution later on. He tells you, how do you get rid of these obstacles? Is to focus on one subject or object. Keep the mind focused and don't buy into the disease. Don't buy into it. Okay, you're sick. I'm very lucky. I was born sick. I was born an asthmatic, severe asthmatic. And since a child, I've always had injections and in hospitals and up all night, not able to breathe. So not breathing became quite normal to me in my young age, So in fact, I was the opposite. Because I was always chosen to be the actress in school or the main part, and I loved school. So being sick meant I wasn't allowed to go to school. My mother would say, so I remember I used to pretend that I could breathe, do the part of the play, come home and really get sick. But that wasn't the solution, because I'd suffer more later. So disease never bothered me in that sense, because I always had learned the gift of transcending it. But I have noticed people who have not been sick from birth and suddenly develop illness at a later stage, because many people develop certain illnesses from the ages of 18, different things, headaches, backaches, maybe they have a fracture and that part of the body is never okay. Mental disturbances, that's also a disease, a lot of mental disturbances. And then they find it very difficult, because all the time their focus is what? On the disease, on the disease, on the disease. And I said, no. You know what happens in meditation when you sit down? Really watch out for this. This is a big impediment on the path. You may sit down, but if something is bothering you and you keep thinking about it, it will get worse. It will magnify. Because of course when you sit down to meditate, and let's say you do have a disease, okay, so you're not feeling well. Let's use Celine, for example. She's got a back pain, really bad back. She's been suffering for some time. So the moment she sits down, she's not going to be able to sit down properly, is she? She's not gonna be able to relax the mind, is she? It's not possible. So what does she have to do? She has to make some kind of arrangement for herself. What she should do in her case is get a chair that is really comfortable for her. Don't even attempt the floor. You know, break all the rules. Don't even attempt the floor. Get a cushion on your back. Make sure the spine is erect with a lot of support, right? And then when you sit down to meditate, you know it's going to be an impediment. You know already because you know what your disease does to you when you're awake. So how much more when you're focused sitting down? So then you give the disease a little bit of time, because if you don't, it fights you. I'm sorry, back, that you're suffering so much, but you know, I'm really not this body. I'm really not this mind. So my body is on loan. So body, I'm really sorry that you are ill. I bless you, and I know you come here to teach me. So now, with my work on focusing on the higher self, or the divine energy, the divine vibration, focusing on lifting my vibration, I will make you well. You talk to the disease. You don't fight it, you make friends with it. You love it, because it's come to teach you something. So you thank it. The moment you accept, everything relaxes. But if you resist it, it will persist. It will persist. Why do I have it? It really hurts. Or you give it energy. You know, Sri Patanjali tells us in the 4 locks and keys later on, disregard the wicked. It's not the disease is wicked, but it causes you harm. So disregard it for a little while. Let it go. Let it go. It's okay to let it go. It'll come back. It'll use you when you're wide awake anyway. And then you focus on one object or subject that you choose. In fact, in the book after this sutra, Sri Patanjali gives you many things that you can use. You can focus on a light, focus on a mantra, focus on Om, but focus on one thing. Why? Because you're putting a groove into your brain. One thing, let's say you decide to use a mantra, Om Namah Shivaya. So the mind will come, oh, I'm really in pain. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. And you dig. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. What will happen to the thought of, I am sick, I'm not well? After a while, after 21 days, they say, it will have no more energy, because the Om Namah Shivaya is so powerful now that as soon as I'm in pain, boom. Now, this is a very interesting thing, because I know this to be true. I went into meditation not because of my health. You know, like I said, I had bad health all the time. I was on 32 tablets a day, a lot of medication. I had hay fever, eczema, hospitalized twice a year. Most of it was psychosomatic. But I didn't know at that time. I went into meditation because I wanted to know if there was a divine energy called God or not. And my version of God, call it what you like, can be light, can be nature. My version of God is the Lord of love now. It's not about a being, it is it. It is male, it is female, it is you, it's everything for me now. It's the Lord of love, it really is. So that's my version. So if I speak about God, you use your own version. Everybody has their own version, all right? So, Star Wars, right? The Force. May the Force be with you. She's a Star Wars baby. And Les is born on the 4th of May, so he always says, 4th be with you. He uses that. And I got the 2 people in my life that always use that. The same sentence. Did you have a connection? So it's quite funny. So the Force, and children love that. You know, when I work with children who have bad dreams or nightmares, and when they come and see me, and they're so fearful in their nightmares, they don't know what to do. They don't believe in a God because they haven't been brought up that way, or they don't believe in anything. So they're pretty much left with their fear. And that's really quite frightening when you fear, nothing else. So I talk to them about, energies, and kids know that. They really understand energy. And so I talked to them about forces. And if they're older, they all know about Star Wars, 9, 10, 7, 8, 9. They're really quite knowledgeable. And they love the word, the force, the power. It comes from within you. I call this power God, but it's called love, really. And isn't it true when you love, you are in a nicer place? And going back to this, when I was in Hong Kong last year, I gave a talk on love and non-attachment, I think. My granddaughter at that time, she was only 6. And after, there's a whole group of adults there. And she, after the talk, I said, any questions? Adults, nothing. She said, I have a question. And I'm her grandmother, but she didn't even look at me as a grandmother. She said, I have a real question. She goes, and so I said, what is the question? She said, so I said, come and sit next to me. And she's really troubled. She said, you said that love is very powerful. Love is very powerful. But I am telling you, anger is really also very powerful. That's the 6-year-old. And it is true. Because I said, love, with love you can cure everything. But what about anger? It's also very powerful. And I said, why? How do you feel angry? She goes, I said, Mom and Dad are in the audience. It's okay, they don't mind. Well, when they're not talking to each other, I don't like it very much. So the parents laughed. I said, but they don't argue a lot. No. But she said, sometimes they get very angry with me. Why do you get so angry? She goes, I don't know. I just want to punch something. I said, my granddaughter, she looks like such a sweet angel. But she was saying this in front of a whole group of grown-ups. And of course, we know grown-ups feel that way many, many times. I just want to punch something. I know I can't. And she goes, that's so bad. So I said to her, let me answer the question. So, no, because she was questioning God as a form of love. Anger is also a form of God. How intelligent, right? So I said to her, okay, how do you feel when you're angry? You feel like that's bad. I feel so bad. So, and I said, how do you feel when you see your parents happy and in love? Oh, I feel so happy. So you see, the force of love can overcome the force of anger. And when you live in anger, look at this, you make yourself sick. So they both are powerful. But if you use anger, it will make you very sick and very unhappy. And if you use love, it will make you joyful and very happy. Which one do you choose? Now I understand love, she goes. It's a higher power that can drown the lower power. So the same thing with using, meditating on one thing. You use a higher force so that the lower energy goes. If you're working with a lower energy and say, I shouldn't think, let's say you have a bad thought, for example, which is an obstacle. I shouldn't think like that, it's not nice, it's not yogic. What are you doing? You're giving it more energy as you think. You got it. So that thought itself is negative. The thought that you don't want to be negative is negative already. And Sri Patanjali tells us so clearly, you see what a brilliant scientist, an opposite positive thought should be thought of. What is that practice? Anybody knows? Pratipaksha bhavana. That is the opposite. Opposite, did you see the word opposite? You don't even think of that one. Think of all beautiful things in your life. So for people who are not in yoga, etc., you just give them a positive affirmation. But for those who are on the spiritual path and want something much deeper to connect with that energy, then you do more than an affirmation. You either use light or you use vibration, you use mantra, because then it takes you to another dimension. Okay. So anyway, going back to myself, having 32 tablets every day, I came into this, I wanted to know about God. So I forced myself to sit down. And I remember, I just said, I want to know. And when Gurudev said, purify your mind, love everything, and meditate, and then when you're ready, God will use you. That was my instruction. And I actually said to him, Gurudev, but I don't know how to meditate. He said, you've read enough books. And it's true, I had read so many books at that time. Thought I understood it all, but the books didn't get me anywhere. Nowhere. I studied psychology in university. Did it help me with my anger issues? No way. See, in those days, I had a lot. And that's what brought on the disease even worse. And that's why I was hospitalized twice a year, right? But like I said, at that time, I wasn't even aware. So anyway, I sat down. I remember the first few days, even sitting 5 minutes, so much toxicity in my body. I couldn't get up. But I was quite stubborn. And I used Sri Patanjali's meditate on a single subject. At that time, I just made Swami Satchidananda my guru. Just after one trip, I decided I needed a guru. Prior to that, I was too proud. I thought I didn't need a guru. So I put his picture there and I loved all his qualities because I knew my mind was weak. I knew it. And so I loved his qualities of generosity, straightforwardness, compassion, love, living a beautiful life. I loved his words, truth is one, thoughts are many. Everything that I wanted to be and think. Everything I respected, I wanted to be. So I was greatly blessed by knowing that I wanted to be that. So I took his photograph and I meditated a lot on those qualities. As you think? So watch what you think. That's the biggest obstacle of all. So if you've got a disease and you're sitting there and you're thinking about the disease in a negative way, be careful. It will get worse. See, I didn't even think about the asthma on my legs. It didn't matter if it hurt. I was like so on higher subject. I want to know if there's a God. And the only way I'm going to learn it is by meditation. Because I haven't, as Gurudev said, I've read enough books. I read hundreds of books. I loved books. I used to gobble them like sweets, and no answers. I mean, I read the words, but I didn't practice. I didn't experience. Of course, when you read the book, you feel so good at that moment, and then 1 hour later or 2 days later, you've forgotten. I mean, you get the basic, but you know it here. Intelligence is not about intelligence. Yoga is not about intelligence. Knowledge will help you, but it will not take you there. It will not take you there. It will help you. You need it. So like we're studying the obstacles. So now you know the obstacles. I hope when you get home and you get any of the obstacles, you know exactly what to do. Of course it helps. But you have to practice the knowledge. There's no point you listening to me and go home and you go back to square one. You wasted your time and my time. Might as well just sit in the sun. Do you see what I'm saying? You got to practice it. Practice yourself to get the highest goal for yourself. Because why? You deserve the best. Yes, you got it. And not me says it, the Upanishads. Later I'll read something to you. We deserve the best. Everybody deserves to be abundant. Everybody deserves to be happy. It made us to do that. But I don't know why religions contaminated it so much. It's not the religion's fault. Because they all teach wonderful things. Maybe people in power wanted to keep us fearful, and we fell into the trap. So our psychology is so sick. You cannot be happy unless you have to suffer a lot. Don't ask for suffering. Gurudev used to tell us, don't ask for suffering. There's enough already. You will get your suffering anyway by your own karmas for all your previous lives. Oh, let me suffer so I can find you. Oh, no, please, no. See, that was the old way. Isn't it nice we're in this generation where it's not this way? Really living in a wonderful time of spirituality, where we're waking up to all this. It's a lot of nonsense, If you have a child simply, I have 2 children, 5 grandchildren, would I want them to suffer necessarily? No, never. I don't want them to suffer. They have to grow and learn because life will bring it. So you think it created us from it would want it to suffer? Its own flesh and blood? Doesn't make sense, you see? But we've been so brainwashed for years. So when people have some suffering, they'll go to me, "Oh, Nalanie, what did I do so wrong? I'm a bad person." I said, no, really, we're all God's children. We are all God's children. So if you did bad, doesn't everybody? That's why you're learning. That's why you're learning. Don't focus on it. Change it. If you know that your past has been full of horrible deeds, then change it. To harp on them and feel guilty about them for another 10 years, what are you doing? You're just giving it more energy. Forgive it and decide today's a new beginning, my new life. Isn't it exciting to do that? It's exciting. It's a new beginning. And then it takes time. The body will release all those negatives from your mind by itself as you practice the higher goods. And that's what happened to my body. And before I knew it, in 6 months, I had eczema since I got married for 16 years. My hands used to be full of blood. I was allergic to everything. And it disappeared. It just disappeared. And I wasn't even going for that. And in 6 months, my medication went down to half. And so I know it does work. Really it is as the mind, so the man. As the mind, so the man. So for me, when you talk too much about disease, which is a great obstacle, you really give it so much power. If you ask the disease, why have you come to me? What are you teaching me? My father was very, very wise. He was very wise. I guess I had a very good example. When he had cancer and his knee started to go and things started to go, he never complained. He would say, "Oh, poor knee. What did I do that you should suffer so much? What did I do that you should suffer so much? I'm sorry. I try to be good now." That's what he used to say. Quite an incredible man. And when he went deaf, at the end, his last few months, he went deaf and he started not to see so clearly. He sat down with me. He said, Nalanie, God is so kind. I said, yeah, Dad, he's making me deaf so I don't have to listen to any rubbish. Because Dad was the guru of our family, right? And he had 5 brothers and everybody complained to him because everybody adored Dad. And all the nephews and all the nieces. Dad was our family guru, right? I don't have to listen to any rubbish anymore. And he goes, and now God is making me a little blind so I don't have to watch those Indian soap operas with Mom. And I just made me laugh, he really meant it. And and because he couldn't hear, we used to have, when I visit Hong Kong, every Sunday night, we have a huge family. We live in a joint family system. And he made a rule, every Sunday night, the whole family has to, all the generations have to come and eat together. So because he couldn't hear, so he used to sit in we have a long family table in the dining room, and he'd sit at the head, because he was the eldest, his brothers, his sister-in-laws, and then he would sing. He starts singing. He burst out into song in the middle of dinner. He goes, "Oh, my Chandra," Chandra was my mom, "I love you so much. God gave you as a gift. And my sister Sandy, you sing beautiful Indian songs." And he would go down the table and everybody's like streaming with laughter and joy and so touched. And we have videos now, that Sandy's husband, John, used to take. So it's really, these are such unique times. And in the moment of his worst disease, he was singing love to everybody else and leaving messages behind for them to hold in their heart. It was never about him. Do you see? So don't worry. The disease is an obstacle, but there is a solution. There is always a solution. Sometimes the body may not heal. Who knows? But at least the mind is healed. So when the mind is healed, The body, even though suffering, is only an instrument. So you don't give it so much energy. You look after it. You need to look after it. It's your temple. But don't all day long focus on it. Please don't. I see that too much. I see that so much. So, and that's attachment. My illness. I'm sick. You are not sick. Your body is sick. You got it? You are the divine self. You are vibration absolute. You are truth, knowledge, bliss. That's the state of the self. The body and the mind are temporary. They're gifts to you. Don't belong to you really, they're your gift. So make the best of it. Make the best of it. And don't focus so much on disease because it's a big obstacle to meditation and your peace. It's a big obstacle. I mean, Nalanie was talking to us about it, and she has a genetic problem of, I can mention it, right? She has a genetic problem of energy. I think it's something to do with mitochondria. My granddaughter has mitochondria, and they get huge dips where they get very tired. Over the years, she struggled with this, struggled, right? And look, she found the mantra to take her beyond it. Now you think somebody with energy problems, how can she belt out and sing the way she does? And you know, I was talking to Les the other day, I said, you know, I think the way she sings, she gives so much from such depth. The Creator probably gave her this disease so that she has to rest quite a lot. Because if she just sang like that all day long, she might be totally burnt out in a very short period of time. Because so much energy going through the body can make the body very warm, and you can actually burn it out. How intelligent is our Creator? Because that makes such sense to me, you know? Because to use that power so for a long period of time. And if you're well, then you'll just keep using it, right? Because you won't think I'm tired or I need to rest. But if you're not well, you'll say, I'm using the power, and then the body will say, but sorry, time to go to bed now. So you can give more and more and more. So life is very interesting. So if you have a disease in your life, find out, you know, look at it. And don't look at it as a punishment, but look at it as a tool for you to transcend. Transcend. You know, you transcend it. That's all. That's all. So, okay, so that's one of the biggest obstacles is disease. The next obstacle is doubt. Can you all say disease, doubt? Disease, doubt. Okay, we're going to list them, go through all of them. Doubt, you all know doubt. Ooh, I don't like doubt. I think doubt, for me, is worse than disease. You know, because doubt is, mind stuff. Is it really working? Is there really, am I really spirit? You know, when you go out to the world and you become so worldly, all this kind of like, you know, really, do I have to do it? Or maybe I know there is spirit, but I can wait till I'm older. I can enjoy all this now. As if taking the spiritual power, you're giving up anything. You're only gaining everything. But the world, as society has taught us so wrongly, that we think we are giving up things when we're not. What we're giving up is when we're so very wrapped up in society and what people think, we're giving up who we really are. If you get really strong in who you really are, then you can be everywhere. Because then nothing will affect you. You can go to a huge cocktail party and everybody's going crazy and not doing that. And you're still having fun watching the play. You're strong. But most people are not strong. They haven't built up their spiritual power. So they get carried away. They get carried away. They'll start to drink too much. Everybody's competing. And at the end of the night, there's an argument. There's jealousies. There's gossip. And then you come back home. Oh, the next day, why did I go with a huge hangover? And you'll just do it again next week and the next week until one day you'll say, what is this all for? But while you're doing it, enjoying it, it seems so beautiful. So why do this? But doing this actually makes you very strong to do everything else. And also, by that time, you probably don't want to do anything else because you're so happy in this. You got your joy, you know. The highest joy of all is feeling an energy flow through your body and knowing that you're an instrument. It really is quite cool. It's really wonderful. So, doubt. When you see yourself doubting a lot, be around people who are strong in their practice. This is why, again, Buddha says that one of the most important things that you need is a sangha. A group of people, wherever it is, doesn't matter. If you don't have one, create one. A group of people who are like-minded. They're like-minded. And then when you see the difference between the like-minded energy and the dense energy of the material world, you won't condemn that, but you won't get caught in it. You won't be sucked in by it. My father used to describe it as a spider's web. He said, it's like a spider's web, darling, and you just have to be careful not to get into the spider's net. Because once you're caught, you're in trouble. The spider will eat you up. So don't get caught. Watch the web and watch how beautiful it is. It's a perfect piece of art, isn't it? If you see a spider, it's beautiful. Just don't go there. So, and that's exactly what it is. So your doubts take you into this web in the mind, and the mind goes all over the place when you're in doubt. So recognize it. Okay, I'm doubting. I'm not very solid. So keep in the company of people who are like-minded, high-thinking, and be in that kind of company as much as you can. If you can't, there's a wonderful practice that Sri Patanjali suggests, and that is Swadhyaya. And what is Swadhyaya? You guys are good. Study of spiritual books. Now, how does that help? You pick up a book, open a page. When the body and mind grow weak, the self gathers in all the powers of life and descends with them into the heart. As prana leaves the eye, it ceases to see. He is becoming one, say the wise. He does not see. He is becoming one. He no longer hears. He is becoming one. He no longer speaks, or tastes, or smells, or thinks, or knows. By the light of the heart, the self leaves the body by one of its gates. And when he leaves, prana follows, and with it all the vital powers of the body. He who is dying merges in consciousness, and thus consciousness accompanies him when he departs. Ooh, that's just what I was talking about my dad, wasn't it? Thank you. You see, you just pick, my father's with me, that's what he's telling me. So you just pick a page from a book and elevate mind. Okay? So actually I missed one. It's actually disease, dullness, doubt. So dullness you all know. So would you say disease, dullness, doubt? Disease, dullness, doubt. Okay. Dullness you all know. We call it tamas. Can you say tamas? Tamas. Tamas is you know, I won't go into the gunas because that's a little bit complicated. But tamas is one of the energies that live in our bodies. We have vibrant energy, we have dull energy, and we have very peaceful energy. All these live in our body. So dullness is a state of tamas, where you don't feel inspired, where you feel, I can't be bothered. Ooh, I don't like tamas at all. Another not nice one. And it happens to a lot of people. Oh, Nalanie, I've been meditating for 1 and 2 years. Now it's so boring. Nothing is happening. And I tell them, no, you think nothing is happening. A lot is happening in your system, But give it time. Your head is telling you it's boring. Just keep going. So they go, oh, but I find so bored. So I said, then fall in love with your practice. Make your practice romantic. Light a candle. Think you're talking to your lover. Anything, Inspire yourself. Fill it with love, because love inspires you. Sri Patanjali says you have to practice for a long time without a break and with all earnestness, which means with all your heart. So if you don't do it with love, it becomes anything in your life. Anything. You cook without love. You go to work without love. Whatever you do without love, it's boring. It's empty, isn't it? It's empty. This is why so many people in our world today feel so empty. They choose jobs just for the money of it, They just want to make the big bucks. But there's no love. So they get up agitated and stressed in the morning. They go all day to work, And what happens? It's terrible. Maxine, where's Maxine? Maxine, she works a lot in a rehab, and one of the people there was telling us many years ago that he loved his work that he was doing, left the work that he loved to make more money in another job he didn't love. What happened? Made lots of money, but became a total alcoholic. Do you see? He sold his soul. For what does it benefit the world? For what does it benefit a man to gain the whole world at the cost of your soul? Wow. So, dullness, watch it, and create for yourself. You inspire yourself. Learn how to inspire yourself every day. Learn, practice this. That's why they also say in traditions the gratitude prayer. Because we're so good at counting what we don't have. And, and when people are around us a lot, we take them a lot for granted. And after a while, we only see their faults. We don't see their good points, which is really very sad. So instead of saying to them, mostly partners, I've seen this happen in relationships, thank you for being in my life. We just say, oh, you did this wrong, and you did this wrong, and you did this wrong. Isn't it true? Not only do we make ourselves feel bad, we totally take away their power and their strength. And that's all dullness. The energy of light does not work like that. It uplifts the other person. It will look for the positive in everything. It will bring out from that person all their best qualities, even though you're witnessing the worst. Then when you bring out the best in the person and you go, you know what, that wasn't so good. You be truthful. It's not that you are not truthful. But when you bang at somebody, you cut off their legs. You have to be truthful. So what do? You give them all that is good with them, all that you appreciate, and then very gently you step in. Do you mind not doing this again? It offends me. Or this wasn't so good this time. Next time you can do better. But you don't break their legs. And then you build their energy up, all right? And dullness makes us do that, because dullness suggests that we're not working anymore. It's a state of taking everything for granted. It's not enjoying, savoring each moment in life. So inspire yourself. Nowadays, we're so blessed. We are so very blessed with the internet. So you can turn on any channel and get somebody that inspires you. My favorite thing in the morning is Swami Satchidananda. Every morning, really, I mean, not every morning these days, but whenever I have more time. This morning, I had a lot of time, thanks to her. I could put Gurudev on all morning while doing my hatha inside, in my room. And it was so nice, because he still inspires me all the time. And hearing the voice, the energy comes from his voice. It just comes. I feel full of vibrancy again. And you've got TED Talks for those who are not so much into this, to the spiritual and still working through their lives, their life goals, simple goals, or your, towards your work, etc. How you should behave with your work. TED Talks. I have seen so many inspiring speakers on. Any of you watch TED Talks? Yeah, good. I don't have much time today, but when people send me something that's really good, I appreciate it. I will watch it because I've been sent some wonderful clips. And they're short. They're 10 minutes, so I can watch them. So, yeah, you watch some inspiring stuff, and there's so many wonderful people in the world today. So many great souls teaching such wonderful things, that you can inspire yourself. Okay? So it's disease, dullness, doubt. Laziness. That's the big one, isn't it? Oof, that's a big one. Oh, Nalanie, I just can't get up in the morning, Why not? Oh, it's just that I'm tired and the alarm rings and I need to sleep. Who isn't tired in the morning? Everybody's tired in the morning. Do you want it enough or don't you? If you get up or you don't get up, it doesn't benefit me in any way. I get up because I want my quiet time with God. I want my quiet time with the Lord of Love. I want to live life beautifully. Do you? And if you don't get up. You suffer. But don't say you work so hard. Just say you're lazy and accept that you're lazy. We all work hard. Who doesn't work hard? I start at 5 in the morning and finish at midnight some days. No big deal. Work never killed anyone. Just make sure you get enough sleep and you eat good food and you do some exercise during the day, and then you can have a lot of energy to do things. And if you get up very early and you get tired, you're one of these people that get tired, then make sure you sleep in the afternoon. And if you really can't do it in the morning, then do it later on in the morning or do it in the evening. Just do it. Master Shivananda used to say, do it now, do it now, do it now, D-I-N, do it now. No excuses. Don't give yourself excuses. You only hurt you, nobody else. Oh, Nalanie told me off because I didn't meditate. I said, do you think I like telling anybody off? I don't even tell my own kids off, and I have to tell all these students off now. Because sometimes I have to be strict in order for them to help themselves. They don't know how to. The mind has become so dull and so lazy that they can't pick themselves up. So learn to pick yourself up. And how you know when laziness is setting in is exactly that. You don't want to get up in the morning, you feel lethargic. Be careful, because I have noticed when people get lazy for a long period of time, the next thing that happens is depression. I've really seen that happen so many times. And it normally starts with disease. It's really interesting how Sri Patanjali got that. Maybe they've got a flu or they've had a really bad bout of pneumonia or whatever, and then they're coming out of it and they develop all the disease, dullness, doubt, and they become a little lazy. And they use the illness as an excuse not to get back to their program. They really do. Oh, but I really was in hospital. I said, I've been in hospital many times. I was in intensive care with a liver operation 5 years ago, and that night I was in so much pain that I couldn't even sleep with the painkillers. So the one thing I could do was meditate, and had a most amazing night. And you can do it too, because we're all made of the same stuff. We're all made of the same stuff. Oh, Nalanie, it's different because it's you. Why is it different? You have the same self in you as I have in me. Is it because I have more faith and I want it more than you do? That's all it is. That's all it is. There's no difference. We come from the same stuff. All of us. So, don't sell yourself short. Don't make yourself small. The greatest masters, look at Ramana Maharishi, was illiterate. One of the greatest jnana yogis of our time, illiterate. So You know, when people give me this sob story, I don't know, and I'm not clever, I'm this, and I'm dyslexic, and I'm that. Oh, get over it. You're divine. Look at these two, dyslexic. Look how much they're doing with their lives. Sending newsletters out and organizing websites and, oh my goodness, sorting out all our accounts for SIS. And they're dyslexic. If they can do it, anybody can do it. What is the difference? They want it enough. They tasted the joy of life. They want it enough that they overcome their weaknesses. Quite amazing to watch. And everybody has the diamond. They do. It's just the carbon is covering it at that moment. Because, you know, diamond comes out of carbon. So you just have to take out the black stuff. That's all. And guess what? It's here only. It's not you. The black stuff is not you. It's just circumstances. You just have to take it off. That's it. You're a diamond. And check out all the ancient scriptures. They'll tell you that. They all tell you. If you read the Upanishads, it tells you that. And it's really just doing this, cleaning this stuff up. This stuff. This stuff. Anything is possible. Is anything possible? Anything is possible. Our master used to say, if you have complete faith, everything and anything is possible. It's us that puts the lid on our possibilities. Out of fear, dullness, doubt, disease, we put the lid. I have this, so I can't do that. Who told you that? You can do anything when you work on this. So disease, dullness, doubt, laziness, watch out. Buddha used to say the worst quality in a human being is laziness. Watch out for that. And the quality in Sanskrit is called tamasic. Tamas. Gurudev is say tamasic. See, you get sick. Raja, sick. Rajas is a lot of too much doing to get praise, to get praise, to get praise, to get recognized, to get famous. Raja, sick. And he goes, but when you want to be sat, victory. The other two are sick. Sattva is victory. It was very funny, you know. He used to play with words all the time. Bless you. You know, he used to play with words all the time. For those who knew him, he's really quite funny. Really, really quite funny. And a wonderful master and a teacher. So, that is disease, dullness, doubt, laziness, carelessness. Oh, we talked about awareness yesterday. You know, carelessness is a sign. Carelessness. Look at the word. Without care. Without attention. Without focus. In yoga, meditation practices, what are we trying to do? The real thing is to focus every moment, so that we know we're divine this moment. This moment. It's not about separating yourself from what you do. Your spiritual practice is from what you do. The practice of yoga is the spirit being in everything you do. Everything you do. Your work, walking, cooking, eating, computers, everything you do should be in the state of total awareness and in the moment now. Carelessness is a sign of not being aware. Not being aware, not recognizing these opportunities that are coming all the time for you to act, work, serve, love, give. Every moment there is an opportunity. But when you're careless, you just don't notice things. You lose things, you drop things, you know, no respect. We talk about everything being divine. Oh, people tell me all the time, oh, Nalanie, I've studied the sutras, I've studied this. I know everything is divine. Yeah, that's why you treat your stuff so badly. That's why you treat your house so badly. That's why you throw all your things on the floor and you have no respect. Even your house is just your outer temple. Make sure you look after it. Gurudev always used to say to us, cleanliness is next to godliness. He used to tell me, you know, Nalanie, you can see the state of the mind of a person when you go into their rooms. And in Bali, when we went on retreat, oh my God, all the students were out by the pool, because we had the retreat in a hotel. Somebody had organized it in a hotel. All by the pool. Suddenly after breakfast, Gurudev sees me come. You know, the service ladies are cleaning all the room. He said, we're going to check out the rooms. I died. 14 people was from our Sangha, the other 14 from all over the world, right? There were about 28 people there for that retreat. So he said, come on, Nalanie, the first room we're going to see is yours. Thank God by nature I'm neat. Thank God. Because my mother was very strict with us as children. Even though we had maids, she made sure we had to keep the room neat. So he came to my room. He opened the door. I go, thank you, God, my brain. Thank you, I'm neat. Thank you for making me a neat person. Thank you. I opened the room. He said, excellent, Nalanie. Now I know you're mine. So we go to another room, was Michelle's, one of my students, and Lillian's. Dear God, please don't make that room messy. You know, this was like, you know, my early days. I was like, I don't want to be a bad example. Maybe, you know, I haven't taught my students well. They become your children. Your students become your children. You love them like your own, you know. And I was praying for them. Oh, thank God their room was neat. I goes, very good. And I'm going, pray. And then the next one's nothing to do with me. It's one of the other teachers on the course. Nothing to do with me. It opens the door of the room and it was a mess. Everywhere messy. Oh my God. You know, that was a real learning for me. And he said, you know, you need to understand is not what is important on just the outside. It's important the whole thing. Because if you are thinking very clearly, everything will be very clear and neat. So when your mind is not thinking, you become careless and you throw things everywhere. And you think you know it all because intelligently you do. But if you really knew it all, you would not allow this. Be the example, he told me. You know, you learn a lot from a master. Simple things. But it really changed my life a lot. And I really learned a lot about human behavior after that, you know, just by checking out their rooms or their homes. If you can fix, the physical is easy to fix, right? This is a little bit more difficult. And that takes a long time. But if you can start to work on your physical carelessness, then it helps with your mental state. The same with Hatha Yoga. If your body is not strong, if you can work on the Hatha Yoga and get your asana, and you've all been to Hatha Yoga classes with Lakshmi, doesn't she give brilliant classes? She's really good, isn't she? So when she can take you to a state, because it's so devoted, it will take you to a state of quiet, right? Isn't it so easy to meditate then? Makes it so much easier. So if you can make sure you're not careless with your outer environment, you will see that your inner environment will become cleaner. Honestly, I've seen this happen so many times, and I really thank Gurudev for this lesson. So I'm passing the lesson on to you. And it is really important. And you see children today are really, really messy. Why? Because they're too busy careless with why? Mobile phones, it takes all their time. So they're on the phone, they're not even aware of where they're walking anymore. So worried they're going to get into accidents, you know? So walking on the road like this with a phone. So messy mind, messy mind, messy mind. So for those parents who tell their kids you have to put your iPhone away at night, Don't worry if they argue with you and tell you that all their friends do it. Just do it. You're doing them a favor, and one day they will thank you for it. You need some time alone. Being here all the time is not so good. It's really not so good. So anyway, that and causes you to be very careless. So disease, dullness, doubt, laziness, carelessness. Next one is sensuality. Sensuality. Oh, you want everybody to make you happy. You want the sense. You saw a delicious cake, I have to eat it. You know, no control over your senses. No control. Oh, it's delicious. Oh, go on. That I really shouldn't have so much sugar, but you know what? I deserve it. I'm this. Another one, and another one, and another one. Now you need to control that. That is one of your obstacles. Your senses. You know. You just want everything. Oh, that guy, he's got a Lamborghini. I want a Lamborghini too, you know. The senses go outward. If I don't have it, I'm not happy. So you sit down and meditate. And what do you see? A Lamborghini all the time. Or that dress, or that new computer, or that new... I need an iPhone 7 or whatever it is. And the iPhone comes instead of... It is like that. It is like that. All these things, the desires come right in when you're feeling sensual. And when you watch out for that, when the desires come in, it takes you over. Is it wrong to have a desire? Absolutely not. May you get everything you want. You will anyway when you find the divine. But we go about it the wrong way around. So, no, it's not. But don't let it take you over. Don't let it take you over. If it controls you, you will never be able to meditate. Never. It's a fact. You can't. You can sit hours and hours and hours, but if your head is full of desires, I'm sorry. Helping you a little, but slow, very slow. You're moving. And also it can cause a lot of disturbance in your energy field, because then there becomes like an argument inside yourself. There becomes a war with the material world and your spiritual world. It really becomes a war. And you start to get feeling very not grounded. You don't get grounded. You kind of you get really, really high lows and think you're so spiritual, but really you're still very material. It's not a nice place to be. You have to watch for that. It happens to many spiritual aspirants. They pretend to be very, very spiritual when they're not reached that goal yet. If you're still very material and you have your desires, admit it. What can I do? I like it. Then I tell them, you know what? May God grant you your desires so you can, be liberated from it. I wish you have everything you desire. Because once you get it, you realize once you got it, after a few days, you want something else anyway. I really want, got it? I'm not happy. How many people, I really want a relationship, really want to have a relationship, all they find is the fault in the relationship. You didn't really want a relationship. What did you want? So you need to know you need to be really clear spiritually. What is it you really want? Really clear with yourself. The senses will fool you. They go out in the world. The senses are not bad things. They're wonderful. What are your senses? Sight. Yeah, these are your senses. They are given to us as gifts to enjoy the world, to enjoy it beautifully. But when the world enjoys us, when greed takes over, when untruth takes over, when fear takes over, then it's not much fun. But when we possess it, then when you see that delicious cake there, and you go, my body's feeling pretty healthy today, I can go for it. It's good for me. Then you really enjoy it because your body's ready for it. It can take it. And when you eat it, it's so delicious. It makes you so healthy. Doesn't matter if it has sugar, because your body can do it at that point. But it's discriminative discernment. You're aware of where you're at. But when your body is weak and not doing so well, the senses go, da, 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 da. No. I know today, if I take that, I'm going to suffer this afternoon. Not worth it. Simple. And your meditation becomes strong. But then the mind will go, I want it. So, sometimes I go, just eat it. Just eat it. And keep that mind quiet. Sometimes you have to. You can't be so strict. That's why I don't like so much rigidity in practice of diets and foods, etc. Because it makes the mind suffer a lot, so much rigidity. So when you are doing some diets, give yourself little treats all the time. All the time I mean once. Maybe a little piece of chocolate in a day is not going to hurt you. It's not. It's when you have the whole bar, So little treats that make you happy, or a substitute that is really quite nice, that will make you feel good. Make yourself feel good rather than bad. It's not about making yourself feel bad, because you may do these detoxing things, for example, and if you're feeling bad and stressed out, for example, I met somebody a few months ago, so she's going on a 6-week detox, right? Really tough one. Now this is a girl that's bright and happy and full of joy. 2 weeks into it, miserable, grumpy. I said, do you really think you should do this detox? 3 weeks into it, complaining, nasty. And I go, I really think you are too strict. Why don't you, I have horrible this, then why are you doing it? Treat yourself. Why don't you have a little piece of cake today? It might make you feel better. No, because do what you like. The next day she calls me crying in tears. I said, I think you really need to eat something delicious now. Because I don't know, you may be helping your body, but you're sure destroying your mind. Now for me, which is better? Do you know she's really destroying your mind? She was really crying over food. Oh my God. I never give it that much energy. So for me, this was a rare thing. So, she ate something. I got personality change. Personality change was back to normal again. And I go, next time, don't make it so severe. You want to do a fast and a detox. She was healthy anyway. She wasn't even sick. She didn't even eat bad. I don't know why she was doing it. She was skinny already, so I guess her body didn't need that extra detoxification. It was too much for the body. It's really good when you need it, but when you don't need it to do it, I think it's a bit harsh. Yeah, it's a bit harsh for the body. It broke her, it snapped her. So when she started eating again, I said, please just eat. And again, another lesson I learned from my Gurudev when I was doing my Raj Yoga course many, many years ago, when he was still in his body. Before I go on, do you need a break? Do you need a break? I just saw it's 11:45. Is it 11:45? Yeah, it's 11:45. Oh my God, I better go faster. Okay, so can we continue? Okay, so we continue. You don't need a break because I need to finish this for you. I realize I only have till 12:30.
Whoever needs the toilet can just go.
Will you just go gently, and Les has got it taped so you can get the, you can talk to him about it, the talk. So anyway, so where was I? Yeah, Gurudev. I went to the ashram, went for Raj Yoga course, right? And I had decided I can never fast at home, my kids, and with my health, the thing, all the doctors would say you need to be really resting to do a detox. I thought, oh, I'm here, I don't have to cook, I don't have to clean, I don't have to worry about bills, I don't have a job, I just spiritual knowledge, I'm going to fast. Because for me, that is rest. Even though it was a severe, very intense course, it's still resting, right? Doing one thing is so easy. So anyway, I decided to go on a fast. So I decided to have lemon juice and 1 apple a day. One day, brilliant. And I went and told Gurudev, because I was quite close to him, because he used to visit our home as children, so it's like his granddaughter. So one day I said, Gurudev, I'm doing the fast. That's it. Isn't yoga all about fasting? That's what they told me, it's all about fasting. So 3 days, I'm really finding it really easy. I'm so happy. Then he calls. It was a Sunday. He said, come for lunch. I've got some guests. Gurudev, I'm fasting. Nalanie, come for lunch. Thank you, Gurudev, I'll be there, but I won't eat. Okay. So I go for lunch, puts me right next to him. And there's all these guests from all over the world. Then they come and serve us food. Put food on a plate. That's enough. More on her plate. And I was like so confused. Why is he doing this to me? You know, I don't have a chance to fast at home, and I'm doing a good thing. Isn't spiritual practice? Doubt. Isn't spiritual practice all about fasting and doing this? And why is he making me eat all this food? It was like really angry inside. And I know he knew. He knew everything I thought. He was right next to me. So anyway, I ate it because I'm not going to tell him no in front of all these people, right? So then came the dessert, ice cream. No, thank you. I don't really eat ice cream. He said, give her some ice cream. Still didn't get it. So I ate the ice cream because I'm a good student. Even though I don't get it, I'll do it. You know, I knew something was happening beyond my understanding. I knew that, but I still was like a little angry. So everybody laughed. He started laughing. I said, Gurudev, you know I'm fasting. I never do it. And he goes, Nalanie, you're taking a Raj course. You think it's easy, but there's going to be a lot going through you. A lot of energy going through you. You need to eat. No fasting. I said, but Gurudev, I was looking forward to doing this. He says, not what you want or what you don't want. It's what's good for you. And he was really right, you know, because it was harder than I thought. In those days, we used to start at 6 in the morning. We had no breaks. After lunch, we're straight back into class till 8 o'clock. We had dinner and then back till 8:30. And then we had all this homework, essays to write, speeches to write, till 1 o'clock in the morning. And you're back again at 6 o'clock. This is really lucky the way we have it now. In those days, it was like non-stop for 3 weeks like that. And I needed all the energy. So thank God he put me off that. So what he was teaching me there, again, is know when to do what, balance. It's not about what you want or what you don't want, what you think is right or not right. It is what is look at it from above, transcend what you want or what you don't want, and do what's best for the body or whatever it is when it needs it, all right? So that's sensuality. Sensuality. Watch out for that. And then he says to us, the next thing you have to watch out for, which happens to a lot of aspirants, is slipping from ground gain. Wow, this is the biggest one I get a lot these days, because now I have lots of students who've been studying for so many years. And then what happens is, and I've noticed this happens, they study for a lot of years, they really know all the techniques, they know everything, and they leave the Sangha, which is fine, it's great, and they're doing wonderful things out in the world, and it's absolutely fine. But the worst thing that happens is they lose their own connection, they stop meditating. Because they start saying, I'm already doing every minute is a meditation. Maybe it is, so I believe them most of the time until the crashes happen. Why should I not believe them? Say, Nalanie, I've learned to live. My life is a meditation. I do karma yoga. I do this. Wonderful. And then maybe a few years later, they crash. Slipping from ground gain. And I go, but you knew it all. What happened? And I find out that they stopped their practices. Especially meditation is the one they'll leave first. I don't know why they leave that. That's the most precious one. And they'll say, I was doing so well. And I said, you are still doing so well. Start practicing again. But to start is again the second time is very hard for people, I've noticed. They find it very hard. This is why Sri Patanjali, the brilliant scientist, tells us what? You have to practice for a long time without a break. Without a break. So you don't break. Don't break the practices. Even if you can't do the hour every day, make it 10 minutes. But do it. Just do it. And even during the day, you may think, oh, I'm doing everything as karma yoga, etc. Yeah, maybe you are. But it's very easy to get mixed up. Our mind will fool us constantly. During the day, make sure you get a little spiritual book next to you or something, or look at something positive every day, swadhyaya, so that you don't lose the momentum, okay? Because the world is very dense out there. In here it's very light, everybody's very light, and you're all very light because we're all in the self, talking about the self, being the self. It's very light. You go back there, it's not so light, it's quite dense. And it takes a long time of practice to be able to overcome the density. This is why I practice for a long time. Once you are strong in yourself spiritually, then you can be anywhere. You can be anywhere at any time and it doesn't bother you. But until you've built up your strength, then watch yourself, look after yourself a little bit more. For me, I've just learned I never stop the practice. I met somebody recently who's been practicing for most of her life, and she suddenly stopped the last 2 years, and she goes, oh, I don't need to meditate anymore. I said, wow, very lucky, I do. She goes, no, but you teach all this, you don't need to, you live it all the time. And I go, you know what? I don't want to take that for granted ever. Ever. I don't dare take that one for granted. And I said, besides, it gives me all the energy, because really, I love meditation. I love it. I look forward to it every morning. And I know it gives me energy. It's where I get it's my medicine, it's my medication. I know it. I'm not going to let it go. But the same person who told me that, a few months later I met her, so she was very disturbed. And I go, sure you think you need to stop the meditation? I actually told her, and she goes, you think I need it? I said, I think you're fooling yourself. Look, you're just so disturbed on a very deep level. It's not like silly disturbances. You will get that for the rest of your life, by the way, even if you meditate. Things will always come and disturb you. But that's so superficial disturbance because you're still connected with the higher self. But they happen, and never go away, by the way. Don't think just because you meditate and you've touched the higher self, these things will stop. They don't stop. It's just the way you handle them is different, okay? They no longer become an obstacle, then you're just an acceptance, silly mind, or, what can you do? Sometimes people are sick in the mind. Isn't it true? Everybody is a diamond, but also know some minds are sick. So you start to understand the spirit of it so easily that when something disturbs you, you don't even think of it as a disturbance, you think of it as an obstacle. No problem, an obstacle comes to life, it's very normal. If you didn't have any obstacles, why would you be here? Life would be no challenge. So boring. We all need a little challenge. So please understand, obstacles will come for the rest of your life. The difference is you don't see it as an obstacle. Pain will come because this is the way of the world. Pain and pleasure. And it is just the way of the world, but you won't see it as pain. And when you suffer the pain, I won't even call suffer, when you go internally into that pain, there will be a great peace in the pain. And false perception is what? Seeing something that is not there as there. It's like misconception, misconceiving things. In our lives, isn't it quite often somebody will say something to you, and you may misconceive their intention. Watch out for this a lot. Sometimes people will say a truth. Oh, they were so angry with me. They weren't. They were just saying something very truthful. I've seen this happen many, many, many times. Oh, this person said this about me. No. That's totally false. They just said something truthful, and you didn't like the truth. You just didn't like the truth, but it wasn't meant to be hurtful. False perception happens a lot when you are in your ego. Okay? It's all about you. You're just watching, what is this person thinking about me? What is this thinking about me? And you're using your mind to decipher information. And your mind, if it's not in a good place, it will misdecipher that information. Okay? We do that a lot. So whenever you make a great judgment, watch where is it coming from. Watch. Is it from my colored mind? Do I have a problem with jealousy? False perception, I have noticed in my years of practice, normally comes from a place of envy and jealousy. I want to falsely perceive something. It's very interesting. Oh, I could spend hours on each of one of these, but never mind, we don't have that. So let's go to failure to reach, slipping from ground game. So, let me tell you something, this is very normal. When you slip, don't feel bad. The feeling bad is to tell you to go back to work. That's all it's telling you. So just get back to work and start with small practices to inspire yourself again. Be around happy people. Be around people with virtues. Be around good people. It will elevate you. It will bring you back. It will bring you back. So, but it does happen to many, 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 many spiritual aspirants. So when it happens to you, don't worry. You're not a bad person. There's nothing wrong. Just an obstacle. And an obstacle means you just have to get correct. I find when people go through obstacles, they judge themselves too harshly. Don't. Oh no, I'm not good enough. A minute. Drop it. Let it go. Let it go. Let it go. New beginning. Keep telling yourself today is a new day. And if you fail today, it doesn't matter. Tomorrow's a new day. Until you get it, give yourself 1,000 chances, okay? But at the same time, make haste slowly. That's from Swami Chinmayananda, also a disciple of Master Shivananda. He used to say, make haste slowly. Got it? You got to get through this. Sometimes it happens slowly, but make the haste in your mind. And then the slowly won't matter anymore. I loved it. He coined that phrase. So, slipping from ground game is just an obstacle. And normally, also this happens when there's grieving in your life, trauma, terrible accident. Somebody has said something terrible and it's really shaken you. That's when you tend to slip from ground game. And the slipping in that form is normally, again, if you can look at it as that hurt or that pain, rather than is aimed towards hurting you and making you suffer, it's really aimed towards making your practices deeper. So really, I've seen many people, when they go through bad times, they stop their practice. It's when you need to continue it. You need to continue it. And when you continue it, you will be in a black place. You will feel nothing is happening. And I can only tell you that is when, after my husband passed away, I was in so much pain, but had peace in the pain. When I sat down to meditate, it was black. And I knew it would be like that. So I just sat every day, and that was gone. I didn't know where it went, but I knew it would come back. I just kept going. I just kept going. And sure enough, I was asked here in 2009, May, to do this Raj Yoga teacher training group. How many are here from that group?
4, I think.
4, yes.
I wasn't sure I was there.
Yeah, you took that, Raj. Well, you guys healed me. It was a 17 days intensive. And of course, they were so keen, these young people, so keen to get Raja, were so full of life that there was my inspiration. So I had been meditating and doing those 17 days. They thought I was serving them. They were totally wrong. They were serving me. After that, the pain just... So service is a great healer. So yes, so what you do is you just, even though you just know it's an obstacle. And you know what I really say is, thank God I had all the tools. So I wasn't like angry with the pain or frustrated with it. I just knew I was in pain. So I knew meditation wasn't really the good medicine, wasn't really working. I still did it. It was working on a subtle level. You know what helped me the most? Watching Friends on TV. I have to be so totally truthful. Because I needed, you see, my medicine was to laugh, right? And something that didn't take a lot of brain power. And my son gave me a whole collection of Friends. So every evening after I'd finished teaching, because I couldn't think anything deeper. When you're in pain, you can't. You can't. So what can make you light? Laughter. So of course Phoebe used to make me laugh with her smelly cat, which is so funny. I just loved her to bits, So, and it really did save me. It did. So you see, there's many different tools. We think God only appears in certain, spiritual, what we consider spiritual ways, but everything is spirit. Everything is spirit. And again, I learned this lesson because I told this story when I was doing a retreat in Cornwall. And one of the students there, and I mentioned about Friends. And so he came to me after the class and he said, Nalanie, I'm not a happy person. I've been trying to meditate for years. I just can't do it. And he said, you mentioned Friends. And, what happened to me at that moment? Do you ever watch Big Bang Theory? He asked me. I said, well, I love it. It's so funny with Sheldon. Penny. Do any of you watch it? It's so funny. Anyway, and I said, yeah, I watch it. And he goes, for the first time, I felt a joy come up. Next day, he came to me again. He said, I sat down to meditate. I thought of the comedy, and then my mind became so quiet, and I can focus on the divine. See, truth is one, paths are many. And I had to have that experience to talk about it. Otherwise, I wouldn't have, and I wasn't embarrassed that Friends saved me. I'm very happy that it did, because it made me laugh for many hours, But God appears in every single form, and it doesn't have to appear in only one way. You're getting the point? Everything is divine. If this doesn't work, you have something else that works for you. It's everywhere. It's in all the songs, it's in all the music, it's all the poetry, it's everywhere. Even sometimes if you read a poem that is written by somebody who is depressed, for example, Coleridge was very depressed, Wordsworth went through his periods of depression, and how many beautiful people have written beautiful things at that time. You really don't know why. Maybe they were meant to do that. That was the personality they were given to do that. We don't know. So please, when you fall from ground gain, you don't know why you've fallen from ground gain, become creative in those moments. If nothing else, do art, do music, do dance, do anything. Whatever is creative, build a website. Anything that helps creativity, because creativity is divine. Our master used to say, he and art makes heart. So create, sing, laugh, do anything, create. And finally, the last obstacle is failure to reach firm ground. You're practicing, but you still feel shaky. It's an obstacle, nothing else. Don't worry about it. Keep going. One day, you'll get there. But no, many times, failure to reach firm ground shows that the mind is everywhere, okay? The mind is it's everywhere. It's not focused on one single object. Notice. So that's why you're not reaching firm ground. Gurudev gives the example again. You have one water boiler in the house. You have 7 taps. If 6 taps are on, if all 7 taps are on, what kind of pressure will you get from each tap? Weak. You close 6 taps and you leave one open, what kind of pressure will you get? And that's sticking to one practice. Choose a practice that you like and stick to it. Stick to it. Stick to it. Stick to it. And it will really, really bring up that energy. So those are the obstacles. And then Sri Patanjali tells us, how do you recognize they're on their way? How do you recognize it? Your body will tell you. Accompaniment to it is trembling of the body. You feel a bit shaky inside. You feel a bit shaky inside. You don't feel very comfortable inside of you. Your stomach is feeling a bit weak. Get panic attacks. Your breathing practices change. You notice people, a lot of this, like that. Something is happening. Notice. The body is telling you. Panic attacks today is the most common one. It's telling you, watch out, watch out, watch out. Before it gets worse into a full-blown panic, do something about it. Do something. And then please, when you go home, I would love you to read, all the advice he gives about what you can do and the sutras that are following. The obstacles come from Book 1, Sri Patanjali, Sutra 30, and please continue to read until the end of the book. And it will tell you what techniques you can use. Look at the different techniques and use a few to start with till you find one that resonates with you. Okay? And even if you go before 30, from 21 to 30, it already advises you about some techniques. All right, so really I'm telling you to read from 21 to the end of the book. 21 is the sutra. To the keen and intent practitioner, this samadhi comes very quickly. Not only quickly, very quickly. But who has to be keen and intent? You, can you say, I do?
I do.
Yeah, you do. I do for myself. You do for you. All I can do is share some knowledge, share some energy of what I have, traveling along this journey of the soul, the pitfalls, examples, so that recognize that most of these pitfalls are the same for all of us. We all go through them. I've gone through many of them and probably may have more. I don't know. I don't think anymore. If it comes, I got the tools. That's what I think. Thank God I've got the tools. I'm not worried. I know I'm always carried. I really trust. I've been shown over and over and over again, when you do the practice, there's a bond. You create a bond between you and the Creator, whatever it is. I call it the Lord of Love. There's a bond. It's like if you call somebody every day and you tell somebody every day how much you love them, the love will grow more and more and more, won't it? It will just grow. If you tell somebody every day, I love you, and they tell you they love you, the bond will get strong. And not only love, speak, you do things every day. You perform actions of love every day, it will grow. Because sometimes speaking is too easy. It's the actions is more important. So I love you, but you don't do anything about it, that's a lie. You really do. If you really love somebody, there is action following it. You will care, you won't be careless, you'll be aware when they need something, you'll be loving. That's the practice. And before we close, I promised you yesterday that I would repeat some stuff I'd read before from the Upanishads about what householders need to do every day. You don't have to be a teacher. You don't have to be so clever. You just need to know who you are, be good, do good. And by itself, everything will work. It will just work. So I'll read to you what the Upanishads says. Is that okay? Because I promised last night, so I remember. The Upanishads means up by the feet of a master. That's what it means. Because in those days, spiritual knowledge was only passed on like this. It was only passed on through word of mouth. Because spiritual knowledge could only be passed on by word of mouth because it was an energy. People understood the vibration of it. So it wasn't passed through books in those days. They only put it down into the sutras and into these kind of books because our world was getting to be more and more material. So they felt that if it was not put down in words, then the whole teaching might be lost, as less and less people started to be involved in the spiritual growth. So it means up by the feet of the light or the master or the guru. And guru means remover of darkness. And really, it's all about transmission of energy. That's what it's about, really. Transmission of the energy of love, really. Okay. And this is written to the householder. We're all householders. Everybody owns a home, right? Family. How many of you have families? Okay. You know, have a home, pay bills, do all the rest of the stuff. Everybody, basically, right? So it's written to us. Practice right conduct. Learning and teaching. Whatever you learn, you share. You know, today a lot of people say, oh, I am not a teacher, how can I teach? Do you need to be a teacher to teach kindness and goodness? Do you need to be a teacher to tell somebody, oh, I can help you, I've studied the obstacles, and I think you're going through an obstacle. Your mouth is you're feeling a bit dull. That's why you're not happy. Can I help you? Do you need to be a teacher to do that, or a therapist? No. What you learn, you can share. You can say, I'm not an expert. I help you as much as I can. If you want more, go somewhere else. To be human, you don't need to be a teacher. Be truthful always, learning and teaching. Master the passions, learning and teaching. Control the senses, learning and teaching. Rouse Kundalini, learning and teaching. You see, our job also is to awaken our spiritual energy, to awaken it, but carefully, practicing all these truths. And then it raises by itself. It's really quite beautiful. Serve humanity, learning and teaching. Beget progeny, learning and teaching. In other words, have children, have everything, you know? And these are name of masters. Satya Vacha says, be truthful always. Tapanitya says, master the passions. Naka declares, learning and teaching are necessary for spiritual growth. I have become one with the tree of life. My glory rises like the mountain peak. I have realized the self who is ever pure, all-knowing, radiant and immortal. Thus spoke sage Trishanku when he became united with the Lord of love, because that's our job, to be united with the Lord of love. And you do it by learning and teaching. And then, as Trishanku says, you become united with the Lord of Love. Having taught the Vedas, the teacher says, speak the truth, do your duty, neglect not the scriptures, give your best to your teacher. Do not cut off the line of progeny, swerve not from the truth, swerve not from the good, protect your spiritual progress always. That's your duty, to protect your progress. Give your best in learning and thank you. Never fail in respect to the sages. See the divine in your mother, your father, your teacher, and guest. Never do what is wrong. Honor only those who are worthy of honor. Today our world has become very hypocritical. When somebody is famous and do crazy things, we honor them. We must be mad. We see that now with the elections in the States. God forgive me, politics. Honor those that deserve to be honored. Why are you honoring somebody who's insulting every single race in the world? Our world has really gone a little mad and is insulting the special needs person in front of so many people. I mean, why should that kind of person get honor? Honor those who deserve honor. Give with faith, give with love, give with joy. If you are in doubt about right conduct, follow the example of the sages who know what is best for spiritual growth. This is the instruction of the Vedas. This is the secret. This is the message. Isn't it beautiful? It is so beautiful. Oh, I am really dangerous when I see this book because I want to read to you so much more. Every line is beautiful. Those who deny the Lord deny themselves. Those who affirm the Lord affirm themselves. The wise and not the unwise realize the Lord. The Lord of love willed, let me be many. And in the depths of his meditation, he created everything that exists. Meditating, he entered into everything. He who has no form assumed many forms. He who is infinite appeared finite. He who is everywhere assumed a place. He who is all wisdom caused ignorance. He who is real caused unreality. It is he who has become everything. It is he who gives reality to all. Before the universe was created, Brahman existed as unmanifested. Brahman brought the Lord out of itself. Therefore, it is called self-existent. The self is the source of abiding joy. Did you hear that? The self is in you. It is in everything. It is the source of abiding joy. Our hearts are filled with joy in seeing him, enshrined in the depths of our consciousness. Enshrined in the depths of our consciousness. If he were not there, who would breathe? Who would live? It is he who fills every heart with joy. When one realizes the self, in whom all life is one, changeless, nameless, formless, then one fears no more. Until we realize the unity of life, we live in fear. For the mere scholar who knows not the self, his separateness brings fear itself. So when you think you are a scholar and you think you know it all, if you are separate from the Lord of love, that fear is not being scholarly. Do you see it? If you really understand the truth, you cannot live in fear. Through field Brahman, the wind blows, sun shines, fire burns, rain falls, and death snatches all away. What is the joy of realizing the self? What is the joy? Why do this? Why do what we're doing? Take a young man, healthy, strong, good, cultured, who has all the wealth that earth can offer. Let us take this as one measure of joy. 100 times that joy is that one measure of joy. In other words, even when you have everything, if you know this joy is 100 times more. So that's why we do it. We know it. Otherwise, why would we all be sitting here? We know that because we are that consciousness. We know it. We do know it. But everything seems so real. Our bodies, everything seems so real. We get so caught in it. And, even though we repeat the mantra every day, which is the one, Asatoma Sadgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityoma Amritam Gamaya. Lead us from unreal to real. Lead us from darkness to the light. Lead us from the fear of death to the knowledge of immortality. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. May the entire universe be filled with peace and joy, love and light. May the light of truth always overcome all the darkness that lives in our minds. Jai Shri Satguru Satchidanandaji Maharaj Ki Jai.